Do you conduct a business in the Plenty Valley or surrounding area? If so, consider Plenty Valley FM 88.6 for your business promotion. Our rates are reasonable and results positive. Call 9404 2111 during business hours for more information.
G'day everyone and welcome to Libcon here at Mill Park Libary. And we're here today from 10 until 4. Craig, Richard and Scott are here at the moment. Hello, gents.
Hello, good morning. What a fantastic event this is.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's I think, the second time they've run it. And lots of different stalls around and lots of people getting dressed up. There's a cosplay competition around about 3 o'clock. So if you are into cosplay and want to get involved, there's a cosplay competition at 3 o'clock.
The PG con.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Lots of things around here. Richie, have you had a look around before? You saw some of the things of interest?
The Doctor Who sort of caught my eye growing up watching Doctor Who. The entire Doctor Who console.
Oh, wow.
From the middle of the TARDIS.
I've never seen an episode of Doctor Who, so you have to educate me on that.
We'll have to take your mic off right now.
Yeah, disconnect. There was also the thing that caught my eye as I walked in. I believe it's an R2F1P, which is basically the orange R2D2.
Oh, cool.
Full life-size, automated, it goes off on its own. I haven't seen it again. Maybe it's making a special appearance again later.
Oh, we'll check that out. Lots of things happening as well. Different lightsaber demonstrations in the kids area, and we did mention off here about how that was a bit comical.
I can't remember. It was one of the early episode 1 to 3 in that prequel series where all little Jedi kids get killed, which I thought was quite funny. That the lightsaber workshop is in the kids area. It's a trap.
It's a trap, kids. Get out. The Southern Rogues Corps, Saber Corps over there, and they're part of that group. There's also the 501 Army as well, and as you said, the Doctor Who Club of Victoria are here. There's also a green screen stall as well, so you can come along and do some green screen stuff. There's going to be presentations as well throughout the day about how to write sci-fi novels and things like that, so you can come along and check that out.
Oh, might get pretty dark if I decide to do that. I tend to come up with dark characters.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of sort of merch stalls and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. And it's just interesting. We sat right at the door and just watching the people stroll in, from like kids 2 and 3 years old dressed up as Iron Man to the adults. And everyone just going to a great amount of effort to dress up. It's a good bit of fun.
And even the staff have got involved as well. We see a couple of the staff here. We've got witches' hats and superhero jackets and all sorts of things.
Craig,
we're
involved.
Yeah, we've got a couple of little things as well.
We might have a Darth Craig coming up.
Masks and things.
Daft Craig?
I got Daft, yeah. Daft, definitely.
I've got my little thing here. But
a bit scary. Don't want to scare them away. And out the front, there's also the cafe here at the library, which is always here. But out the front, they just opened a kebab stand, and there's an ice cream stand, which probably not the greatest day for ice creams, but
it might find up.
But if you have a hangover, great place to come.
And the Chances Cafe, of course, is a fundraiser as well for the Araluan who run the cafe. So get along and have a bit of a coffee as well. So plenty of market stalls. So if you're looking for a particular comic or things like that, there's actually heaps of comics here at the library already. But lots of other stalls and things like that. There's different dressmakers as well. So if you want to actually do a particular cosplay article, they'll be able to give you some tips and tricks on how to do all that.
Now, I do have to ask, I'll go with everybody, what's their biggest expertise on like comic or TV show? What would you more know? You're a big fan of.
I'm a bit of a Doctor Who fan, a bit like Richard over here. Ghostbusters, he's got a Ghostbusters T-shirt on today. So that's probably one way.
I'm a huge Simpsons fan. Growing up in the 90s, that's all you watched.
Yeah.
You quote everybody, you annoy everybody with it. we had a teacher, funny enough, named of the title show, to the point she ran out of the room. She couldn't handle it because we came up with Simpsons references every single minute of that class.
And it's still going strong. I've watched the new episode just a couple of weeks ago, and they've still got it.
I have not seen that final yet.
The prequel.
Okay, I've got a trivia for you. So you've seen most of them, or all of them?
Pretty much been watching since the start.
Okay, so there's the episode of Life in the Fast Lane. At the end of the show, they have Marge. The storyline, she was almost cheating on Homer. She walks through the power plant to go get Homer. What is that episode parodying?
Richard Gere, An Officer and a Gentleman.
Correct.
Hey, well done, Richard. Good work.
All right.
Now, lots of other things as well. If you actually want to get a bit of inspiration from Libcon here, there's a number of biographies that the team have put together, and I'm sitting right in front of Patrick Stewart's memoirs, Making It So. So lots of different articles and comics and all sorts of things, and lots of people to talk to too.
It also highlights how much stuff that the library does have. You know, obviously got the sci-fi sort of stuff out here in front of us, Stan Lee and a few others there. This is an amazing resource. I've driven past it so many times, and it's not until my kids sort of, I've got to pick something at the library, a book at the library, and came in here, and it's just a phenomenal resource. So come down and just check out the library.
Absolutely, and there's lots of spaces as well. There's a study space on the right hand side. It won't be too quiet today, but it's usually a quiet space out there. There's actually a decking at the back as well, where they're doing some outdoor stuff. So lots of things out here. This library is one of the more modern libraries around the place. It was only opened in 2002. So
it's a big place when you look at it compared to a lot of
It's a communal hub, and we were talking to our techos as we were setting up, and it's like, I remember when libraries were just books and you had to be quiet.
Yeah.
And here is anything but that today.
They have cake stalls, they have everything here. So
and you weren't allowed food or drink in the library. Now we've got a cafe in the middle of it.
That's right.
Gotta love it.
Those points times
Things have
we have to
changed,
sneak in
Rich.
stuff. But
And something I didn't know, you can also rent on loan, stream movies through your library card.
Yep.
And also they've got a DVD section. So there's all these other little things that just way beyond the books.
And also there's a couple of QR codes. They've got a library called Comics Plus. So you can actually scan on that, and it comes up with all the comics collections you can actually download, like e-books and audio books and all sorts of things. So,
and also there's some meeting spaces, which we at Plenty Valley FM have used on numerous occasions.
Several times. And there's a local history local history room as well.
Oh,
want to do your local history?
Oh, I didn't even know about that one. Might have to go in there.
So lots of things to happen here, and you can probably hear behind us a bit of a buzz. It's here until 4 o'clock, 10 till 4, here at the Mill Park Library. It's 394 Plenty Road in Mill Park. So if you're familiar with the Golden Arches restaurant that's nearby, it's just a little bit further on from that towards Bundoora.
Yeah, don't come up to it to pull in. You've got to pull in just before the Shell servo, because I did that this morning, went past and had to do a loop around. Even though I've been here before, I thought, missed it.
There's Big Ben. Like
Big Ben, Parliament.
Hey kids, there's Big Ben again. Oh gosh, that's a classic movie too. So lots of people coming through. As I said, a few Pokemon people as well, and the staff are doing a great job of getting involved as well. So come along and see us at the Libcon. It's here until 4 o'clock at the Mill Park Library. We'll hand back now to Deep Cuts, and we'll catch you again very soon. Welcome back to Libcon here at Mill Park Library, 394 Plenty Road in Mill Park. And if you're in the area, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app. You can stream us wherever you go. And you can also live stream us on our website, pvfm.org.au.
And Darth Craig is on air with us too, and we've got a reason for it.
We've got Daniel here from the Southern Rogues Sabre Corps. Hi, Daniel. How are you going?
Good, Greg. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Very well. Thanks for coming along.
That's all right. My pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about the Southern Rogues Sabre Corps. What do you do?
So, we are basically a bunch of Star Wars enthusiasts, much like any fan out there.
Yep.
But we express that enthusiasm through choreographed lightsaber fights, which one of which you'll see at 12 o'clock today at Libcon in Mill Park.
Fantastic.
So do you give lessons on this as well, or is it just...
We can. So we are running workshops throughout the day, mainly for kids, given how many kids that come through Libcon. This is not the first time we've done Libcon. This is probably our fourth, Libcon, and with credit to Jack for reaching out all those years ago, all the way I think back in 2018.
Yeah,
was our first gig here. So Jack and us, go a long ways back. Yeah.
And Jack's got a bit of a Star Wars fetish as well, and he likes that stuff. He likes the Star Wars as well. I think he's dressed up today, one of the Star Trek people.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think he does a swap every year.
Yeah.
So I think last year he dressed up as something from Star Wars, like a Jedi, and the Trekkies were giving him a bit of a hard time.
We were concerned before because we thought about one of the trilogies from Star Wars where they had the Jedi kids with the saber fights.
Yes.
We thought, oh gosh, they're in the children's area of the Mill Park Library. It's going to be dangerous.
That's right. There'll be no killing of younglings today.
So how long has the core been around for?
So the core actually has been around since 2016. So it was kind of born, out of my want to showcase, what fans can do. Not just sitting in a closet, just having a lightsaber that just lights up and just swinging that around at home. Yeah. So I think we wanted to share our love of Star Wars, and the way I sort of thought the best way to do that would be to do with the most iconic, arguably the most iconic weapon in the entire universe, right? Yeah. With a lightsaber. So just trying to find like-minded people, and we've got two of our guys here today as well. So met them through Facebook and said, hey, let's get together, have a swing. And that's where the Silent Rogues were born.
So there's no competitions as such. It's just a get together of like-minded people who just enjoy the franchise.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. So I mean, whether you enjoy just swinging a lightsaber, or whether you feel like you want to put yourself out there a little bit like we have, and do a performance and just entertain people through what we do, that's perfectly fine. We are actually looking for anyone who wants to join. Yeah. Whether you want to do the behind the scenes, so we can do the music, you can do the like the sort of the emceeing, or what you call it, the hype man as you call it. Yeah. As well, anyone doesn't have to be out in front of people performing. You can be behind the scenes.
So do we make you Craig's teacher there? It's like with this, we're going to get him up there doing this. So I'm going to be filming this too, brother. So folks, yes, there will be footage of this.
Indeed, yes.
Now tell us, what about the theatre of the fighting and things like that? Like, how do you G up? Do you do reenactments of scenes, or you just do different moves or skills?
We do a little bit of both. There's a little bit of column A and column B. So we do take heavy influence from the stuff that we see from the movies and TV series as well. Yeah. But quite a lot of it. I've got a martial arts background. Right. As well. So that's one of the guys.
What martial art?
So I do actually do 2 Japanese martial arts. So actually, this is actually the uniform for it I'm actually wearing at the moment. So one of which is actually a katana drawing martial art. So it's all form-based, non-contact. And the second one is the way of the stick.
The way of the stick?
The way of the stick.
See, I'm training in Taekwondo, or as my uncle calls it, Taekwondo. You don't do contact, you just...
No, so the only person who has experience with any sort of contact martial arts is one of our guys, Peter. He actually has trained in an Okinawan style of karate. Right. So he's, I think from memory, he's 4th degree black belt in it.
So there's lots of energy involved in it as well.
There is. And, we've gone through some theatre combat training with one of an accredited fight directors from Australia as well. Right. And she's got a pretty long list of credentials, and she's pretty good. And so we've done some training that way as well, yeah.
Do you find yourself going to schools and things like that just to sort of do a bit of theatrical work? Or?
We nearly landed a gig once in one of the high schools. Unfortunately, I think that was a clash of scheduling, so obviously that got canned. But yeah, we're definitely open to that. So, whether schools want to do like I think they were going to do like a movie night screening sort of thing, which they thought, precursor to that, get us on to do a bit of a show. Yeah, nice. Yeah, no, absolutely. We're more than welcome.
So I have to ask, which is your favourite episode? There's 9 of them now?
Yeah, 9 or 10. plus the spin-offs. Yeah.
For the record, look, the last 3 weren't great in terms of action, I'll be really honest. Yeah. But for me, I'm a little bit biased because I look at all the lightsaber fights, because that's my jam. So I would say, in terms of raw emotion and energy, it's probably a tie between episode 3 and 6.
Yeah.
6 is a popular one. Like it's the ones I usually hear more is 4 and 6 because that 4's the original, I guess.
Like in terms of space battles, you can't go wrong with 4 or 6. Maybe to some extent, the opening sort of scene in 3 as well. It really depends on what you're looking at.
Yeah.
But 5 usually tends to be... Which ones is it? Return of the Jedi? No,
that's Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
So that generally tends to be the least favourite of the original series.
Quite a lot of people I've seen online actually, particularly in the States, where the fan base is absolutely massive there. A lot of them like 5.
Right.
A lot,
and 5 is like it's the most pivotal one of the series because that's when you find out. Spoiler alert: who he is? Darth Vader's Luke Skywalker's father is.
Yeah. So tell us. In terms of classes, do you run classes after schools and things like that, or is it just a group together?
No, it's usually we tend to meet on the weekends because we're all still working professionals, so we don't have a lot of time during the week, unfortunately.
Imagine your walk-on music coming into the office with the lightsaber.
Yeah, we honestly, there are days we wish we could do that, but no, because we do this because we like it. Look, if we could turn this into a full-time thing, we would, but. We don't want the big mouths coming after us.
Yeah, fair enough.
But so generally speaking, we just do have things on the weekends. We come, to Libcon, things like Libcon. We've done King Con at Cheltenham Library as well.
Okay.
So we do the rounds and this sort of thing, and we enjoy it.
Yeah,
that's the most important part.
And it's good fun too, because the kids, they don't have to break anything. There's no glass breaking or anything like that.
No,
it's just like come into here and do some really crazy stuff and not be too concerned.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a fan of Star Wars as well. Like even this thing, if the minute you light a lightsaber up, people automatically know what it is.
Yeah.
Even if they haven't watched Star Wars.
It's iconic, isn't it?
It's very, very iconic.
Speaking of Star Wars, we just got a droid passing us now.
Yes. Lots of things happening here. So people want to get involved with the Southern Rogues Saber Call.
Yep.
What do they have to do? Where can they go?
So they can find us on Facebook. Just do a Facebook search on us, or you can follow us on Instagram.
Okay.
As well. If you're at Libcon, grab a business card or a pamphlet, or come have a chat with us. We're friendly. We won't bite. We won't chop off your arm.
Fantastic. And they've got some live demonstrations coming along. What's the next one at 12 o'clock?
So our live performance. So where we actually put up a fight, several fights in fact. Will be at 12 o'clock today.
Fantastic. So come along and see that. It's not far away. And you can find the Southern Rogue Saber Corps on Facebook and Instagram, and get in touch with the guys, and they'll let you know all about how to get involved. Daniel, thanks so much for coming. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Libcon here at Mill Park Library. We're here from 10 right through until 4, as the Libcon is as well. I think it's about the 5th or 6th Libcon version. It's the first time we've been here as an outside broadcast. So come along and say good day to our team. 394 Plenty Road in Mill Park. And Kat's joined us as well, and we've got Mary who's going to have a chat to us.
Yes, we've got here today Mary, who's from Mugs, which is Melbourne Lego User Group.
Hello, everyone.
We'll get her to explain a little bit about that. And it's run by the Brick Ventures.
Brick Ventures Inc. Yeah, so we're auspiced from as part of Brick Ventures Inc.
Right.
Because we don't have our own ABN, so we're still linked to
so
Brick Ventures
maybe you
Inc.
can explain to the public
what we do.
Yeah, what you're about.
Okay, so Mugs, Melbourne Lego User Group. So we're a group of community Lego enthusiasts who love to come together once a month, and we discuss Lego, discuss our ideas. We pretty much create our own mocks.
Your own group, yeah.
Well, mock is my own creation. So a lot of us, I haven't been part of the Lego community for too long. I joined because my husband, who suffers from major depression and anxiety, so his doctor recommended Lego as a way to just empty out his mind so he can just focus on one thing. And someone recommended Mugs, and their base plate is based in Preston, which is near us. So we went one...
Northern suburbs, yeah.
Yeah, so we went one Sunday, and they meet the second Sunday of every month.
And who doesn't like Lego, really? Come on.
That's it.
We all like Lego.
That's true. So someone like me who is an anti-Lego person, it didn't take long for me to change
quite
my
therapeutic,
mind.
actually.
It very is, very much so. I used to, for me, when I'm anxious, I clean. I clean, scrub the house clean.
No, I think I'll stick to Lego.
It is, but it is an expensive hobby, I must say that. But although it's expensive, you buy a set, you can you build, you follow the instructions, you build the set.
But having said that, there's a lot of stuff
that
you could class as expensive too. It's no different than a lot of other hobbies.
Oh,
you know.
of course. Like, but the good thing about Lego is that you can pull it apart and you create whatever you want.
And when you're talking
there is
about
no wrong.
When you're talking about the anxiety side of it, I agree 100%, because when you're building something with Lego, your whole in that moment, all you're thinking about is what next piece do I need? Where does it go?
And
you spend a lot of time, quiet time, searching for that piece.
Yes. And when you're building your own creation, and like I said earlier, there is no wrong answer when it comes to creativity. It's whatever is in your mind. And, it's sort of, you work with what you've got. And that's the beauty about it. So you don't necessarily have to go out there and buy hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of Lego just to find that one piece you need to make your model look perfect.
Well, I was brought up with my grandkids. I've got 7. With Lego, and I've watched them as I've grown up. The Lego's changed because they've followed different trends.
Yes.
But the end result, and sometimes I'll sit there with them and build stuff with them. And even as an adult now, they still build stuff, and they put them in cabinets in their bedroom, and it gives them a bit of pride and joy just to look at them.
And I'll tell you, and this is a good lead up to promoting Brickvention. Brickvention is a 2-day Lego exhibition. It's the biggest in Australia, and it's held on the 3rd weekend of January each year.
And that's Saturday the 18th and Sunday the 19th of
January next year. And the good thing about it is that you've got people exhibiting from all over the world.
I've actually been
not
to
just
that,
Australia.
the Royal Exhibition Building. I went to one year. It was unbelievable.
It's noisy, it's busy, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, but some of the stuff that people build.
Yes.
There was a Titanic, there was planes, there was massive, big structures.
Yeah, I've been going every year since 2012.
Yeah,
and the very first exhibition I went to, what caught my eye was this giant Vegemite jar.
Yeah. And they've even got
that was
buildings.
It was my favourite for the day. I can't remember anything else that was exhibited that year.
They've even got buildings, I think, if I remember, of Melbourne, some parts of Melbourne that they built, they copied. It's unbelievable, very talented.
Yes.
Yeah, so go along to that in Saturday the 18th and Sunday the 19th of January to the Royal Exhibition Building in Nicholson Street, Carlton.
Yeah, so look, we plug mainly on social media, and unfortunately you've chosen the wrong person to talk to you about it, because I don't do social media.
Well, I think you've done a good job. You've explained
what it's about. If you just go on Google, type in Brickvention 2025, the information will come up.
There you go, Brickvention 2025.
Yes.
And Mary, you mentioned you get together every couple of Sundays?
So the second Sunday of each month.
Yep.
Yeah, so our base plate is based in
Unit
Preston.
4? Unit 4?
2 to 4 Irene Street. So if you're familiar with Preston, where sort of like the corner of Bell and Plenty Road, there's the Stolberg Hotel. We're sort of like just behind it.
Oh, right.
So entrance via Irene Street. And speaking of, we do have a brick market on tomorrow. It's a last minute plug.
Right,
yeah.
where
so
is
from
that?
At our base page, so Irene Street in Preston.
It's 24 Irene Street, Preston. That's the brick market. And they sell all Lego?
Sell used Lego, new Lego sets, it's parts. It's pretty much that.
For those of you that are missing a part and can't find it and you don't want to buy it online,
along, you might find it.
That's
it. And it's a good way for our Mugs members to.
And the doors opens at 11 o'clock sharp.
Yep.
11 a.m. sharp. Is that
That's
correct?
right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah. So it's new and pre-loved Lego-related products and available some aftermarket products.
And we've got a sausage sizzle for those who just want something to nibble on while they're looking.
The one thing I love about Lego is it's all ages, right? I mean, you mentioned your introduction to it, and it's just like anyone who knows anything about toys, they don't have to know any sort of major toy outlet. It's like you know what Lego or the concept of Lego is all about.
That's it. They've been around for more than 90 years.
Yeah, and it's like an investment. They last a lifetime.
It is.
I know. I've got them in my garage.
Do you know, this is how ignorant I was about Lego when I first joined the group in 2018. I had no idea Duplo was a form of Lego, but for infants.
Yes,
that's
it is correct. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a bigger version and more applicable for them.
And what are you doing here at the Libcon today, Mary?
We're showing our support, and that's one of the things that we do as part of Mugs. We are eventually going to have our own exhibition, but in the meantime, what we do, if we've got different councils, schools, libraries that reach out to us that say, look, we're having a fete, we're having a Libcon, we're having an exhibition, would you like to come and exhibit? And that's why we're here and promote. We promote Mugs, and we're here to promote the community.
And you also don't know, down the track you may even have another venue that you can participate at another time of the month for other people in the other areas. Yep.
And Mary, do you find schools sort of reach out and sort of say, particular classes or things like that kids want to actually get involved with?
Yes, they do. Look, what we did have a big setback during the COVID lockdown, and it's now slowly growing again. Prior to the lockdown, we had pretty much every month we had a school or we had a council that had some exhibition or a fete going on and would participate. And the beautiful thing about Mugs is that we've got members from all over Melbourne and Victoria. Some people come from regional Victoria every month. And it depends on where it's located, that particular exhibition or fete. People will say, oh, look, that's local to me. I'll participate. So it's not always the same people exhibiting, and you're not seeing the same thing. We've got a wide variety of different creations. It's just today, rightly so, it's Libcon. So we've got our Pokemon, we've got our Star Wars, we've got our Phantom, we've got our Mario. It's it's fitting to what the theme is on the day.
Fantastic.
Oh, great.
So it's free to join. It's free to join Mugs.
Of course it is.
Yeah, perfect. And you can find out more information on that through the website. Is that right?
Yes.
Perfect.
This is a good one. We don't have it on this. Just type in Mugs on your Google search. I should have done my homework. I do apologise to our listeners.
So if you type in Mugs, is it Mugs? Mugs after that, like Mugs?
Or you can just type in Brick Ventures Inc. because we're part of.
That takes us to the link that goes to it. I'll look at them all dressed up. Yes.
Fantastic.
All right. So go along to all of that.
Or our Facebook page.
Okay. So
there is a link that Mugs.
Mugs Facebook.
MUGS.
All right. Go along to your Facebook page.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Mill Park Library. And we're here for Libcon, which is the Mill Park Library's version of Comic-Con, I think, is basically how the easiest way to summarise it is. So we're here, as is the Libcon, through until 4 o'clock. So come and say hello to our team. And we would love to have a chat to you about what we do. And if you're around the library at the moment, you can jump onto the Community Radio Plus app. Download it, find us, and listen to Plenty Valley FM wherever you go. Or, of course, you can find us on our website, pvfm.org.au. Scott's here with us. How you going, Scott?
And I've got to ask, are you a big gamer?
I'm a huge gamer.
Well, we got Matt here to tell us about video gaming.
Matt.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right. So I noticed that there's a setup around the corner.
There you go.
So set up around there, so tell us about it.
Yep, I have a business called Landom, which we run video game events, and we've been lucky to be working with Yarra Valley Libraries for the last few years with their Libcon events. So we provide video games of all different types and all different sizes for all different ages.
And there's a few different consoles there, including a Super Nintendo.
Absolutely. We've got a mini SNES with a throwback with some retro games for some people, and all the way up to the PSVR 2, which is the latest in VR. So it's pretty good. All different ages are trying different things, and then there's mums who are trying to school their kids in original Mario Kart. So it's all a bit of fun.
So I have to ask, what was your original console?
My original console? It's I don't even know what it's called. It was like a Vectrex something or other that my uncle gave me. That it's just showing my age now. It had Pong on it.
I had a Sega Saturn.
A Sega. That's probably the only console I've never owned. So well done to that.
So, interesting enough, so my mum bought it for Christmas one year. And it's
well, you've got a cool mum then.
Yeah. Well, so we were big into gaming because that's the first one we got. And because it just came out, but it also ended just as quickly as it came out.
It did. That is the reason why I don't own a Sega Saturn. Funny enough, the Dreamcast that came after it was an amazing console, so that was a lot of fun, a lot of great games on that. But I think the big thing is that there's games for any person of any type, and there's so many people that come through my programs and they say, "Oh, I don't play games." I'm like, "Well, you haven't found the right one yet."
Yeah. And there's so many things because there's a lot of games that go in different age groups too. Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably my favourite game so far. It's interesting, like the little details of how gaming has come along, like the days of what was that, the Pong or the Tetris?
Yep, Pong. Absolutely, watching things go back and forward, and the idea between the competitive version and the storytelling version of games. And some people play games to beat people. Some people play games to enjoy stories. Doesn't mean either game is right or wrong, better or worse. It depends on what you need for every day. And myself, I try to enjoy both.
I remember playing games as a kid and having competitive friends in the gaming side of it.
Absolutely, and I was so competitive. I would always say I could beat you in Mario Kart upside down, and I would literally lay upside down and just try to. I thought I was that good. I don't think it always worked.
See where I go is the wrestling games. I can get you in that Mario Kart, not so much.
I think you got me on wrestling games.
All right. So, Craig, you want to...
Yeah, I mean, I guess video games is sort of one of those things that transcends, isn't it? So, I mean, you mentioned before you got old school games and new ones and that, and the evolution of it and people's imagination's not really limited now anymore with all the graphics and things like that comes out.
Absolutely. I spent my last weekend at a big conference called PAX in the city. It's over 30,000 people playing games, and just seeing the absolute different of age groups and families, and we're getting to the point of most parents have played video games, so they can actually teach their kids how to do it rather than our parents who had no idea, even though someone has a Sega Saturn loving parent, which is very unusual.
See, I had that step parent and went, those video games aren't going to be around forever. Well, they're still around.
Well, it is the idea of interacting entertainment, and be it any way from games, video games, but then we have things like Dungeons and Dragons, we have things like board games, social deduction games, all these things which I love to run, and I love to get people into and introduce them to, because it's not just Candy Crush and not just Pong and not just Fortnite all day now.
Yeah, so. And because a lot of things you do get criticisms of with video gaming is when they're targeted towards like your GTAs and all that. Like they focus in on when there's school shootings, but it's really. Well, was it more of a psychological issue? What was the issue before that? Like, you always had a...
As someone who does a bit of teaching with parents, the biggest thing I always tell about parents with gaming is that you need to game with your kids. I'm sorry. It may sound like a real painful experience.
Parental control.
Yes. Well, it's an experience what your kids are experiencing. And because the wonderfulness of what's called cooperative gaming, the game when you play with someone, is growing bigger and bigger. So being able to sit down and play with your kids, I play a game called Sea of Thieves with my kids, and that we just hang around and be pirates together, and it is just a wonderful experience.
It's a good connection these days with family connections and that. I mean, we don't read books and that. Well, we do read books, of course, we're in a library, but I mean, you don't have that sort of connection like you used to have. Like that gaming thing, it sort of is really a fun thing to do, a couple of hours.
Families don't play board games anymore.
No.
But when you put a board game in front of a kid, they absolutely adore it.
And but then you also got board games, video game board games.
Well, I like the ones where they got the board games and actually have a corresponding app.
Yep.
It's like, well, you're winning in both worlds there, right?
Absolutely. And this is the thing. It's all about interactive entertainment. So whatever that looks like, and that's not just not just always a screen.
What are you thinking about VR? That seems to be an evolving technology, isn't it?
It's absolutely come to be a thing. We're still a few generations away from that because a lot of people are feeling vertigo, but it's closer and closer coming to where we're going to be seeing it. The biggest thing about it is exhaustion.
Yeah.
The physical. They've done a lot of tests and they've tried people who just sit in VR all day and do work in VR, and the level of exhaustion of them is huge. So that's the biggest issue that they've got to overcome. But it's there and it's fun. So
even I hear on TV, I'm a bit of a sports fan, and you hear people going into simulations and simulators and iRacing and all this sort of stuff. I'm thinking, gosh, there's a lot of things for a lot of people, isn't there? A lot of
and that's the one.
Catering.
The one of the world is that we're starting to see niches be grown because people can get access to niches. Something as vile as Dungeons and Dragons, as it was seen when it originally came out, is now loved and lauded and used in even government ways in a lot of programs. So I'm pretty sure the library here does a lot of those events too. So it's these things that are just. They had their niches. Actually, people are finding their way.
So I've got to ask, with the relaxing time, what's your games at the moment?
My game at the moment, always Overwatch. That is my game I love with my wife, and I am itching at the bit to play a game called Hades 2. Hades is, I would say, the greatest game of the last 10 years, and just a Greek tragedy game. And the sequel is so close to coming out. I'm so excited about it.
I currently got myself on DC Online again. It's a superhero. You could choose superhero.
He wants to be his own superhero.
Well, I've got my own villain here, and I get in trouble if I say what it is. But yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I guess, what about online? A lot of parents, I guess, talk about online play and the dangers, the risks involved with the play. How are you seeing that?
It comes back to be a parent, parent a kid.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
Yeah.
All these companies have lots of processes and systems built to keep kids safe. For my kids, I make sure all chat and voice is turned off, and I only let them play games that I probably are normally around with.
Yeah.
So, but it all depends on the age of your kid, and but the thing is, know what your kid is doing at all the times, because it can go south very, very quickly.
Yeah, 100%. We've come a long way from Leisure Suit Larry when I was growing up. My gosh. Someone mentioned that to me the other day at work. I'm thinking, I did not pick you to be a Leisure Suit Larry player.
See, all right. I managed to get a copy of Manhunt, and that was it the first or second one that was banned?
It's one of the ones.
One of them was banned because it was too, it taught you how to kill people.
It's just amazing how it's just gone. I mean, even the level of detail, the graphic design,
absolutely,
and things like that.
I think the thing is that people want to play games that are fun. And that's why Nintendo is such a huge company still, is because nearly anyone can pick up Mario Kart and play it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. People are like, I can drive a car. I can I can push down, go forward, and turn left and right. And it's about fun.
Yeah.
Fun is more important. No matter how realistic these games get, unless they're fun, they're still not going to be any big sellers.
Fantastic. And what are you seeing today as part of the bigger issues here at Libcon? What are the sort of the gravitational ones coming through?
It's just a wonderful time for seeing parents being parents.
Yeah.
I think this is the biggest thing with these stuff, and it's a lot of the times it's parents showing kids something that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
And hopefully not forcing their kids into it. But it's just that. And so everyone who's walked in is just here for a bit of enjoyment, here to find a bit of respite from the world, and just to enjoy being a bit of a nerd, which more and more of the world really is.
We all got that nerd in us somewhere.
You mentioned you do sessions with the library here. What days are those?
No, it's just periodic sessions and events like this.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so we've got a whole lot of other events lined up that we really want to do with them. Things called social deduction games, which are a lot of fun, kind of like a murder mystery night kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So looking forward to hopefully getting those up in the good.
So you do a lot of competition stuff as well, like so.
We do a lot of competition. I find people just want people to enjoy things, and the competitive nature kind of doesn't always bring the best out of people.
Second thing, right?
But it's just like creating a place for people just to have fun.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So we won't let you get back to your standing because it's standing at the moment.
Thanks for having me,
Thank
guys.
you for coming.
Wonderful.
Matt.
Nice. Have a good day.
Matt from Landon is at the gaming stand around here at Libcon, which is fantastic. We're here at the Libcon here at Mill Park Libary, 394 Plenty Road. It's still buzzing around here. It's on until 4 o'clock, as are we, and we're getting to know a little bit about what's happening in the Libcon space. We've had a few things going on today, including some cosplay workshops. There's also some fantasy craft and character workshops as well. Lego display. We had Mary on before from the Melbourne Lego Users Association. Some video games as well. And we've also had some displays from the Southern Rogues Sabre Corps, which has been a lot of fun as well. So get along. It's here until 4 o'clock. There's some fan clubs here as well. The Doctor Who Club of Victoria. We're going to have a chat to some of them a little bit later on. The 501st Legion's Nightfall Garrison. We've also got this gentleman here who we're about to speak to now, which is Luke from Star Walking.
Star Walking.
Hey, how are you, Luke?
I'm great. Having a great day today.
Very good. And tell us a bit about Star Walking.
Star Walking, well, it's the longest-running Star Wars fan club in the world. We originated right here in Melbourne back in 1988.
Yep.
Star Walking is generally just a Star Wars fan club. We put on events and host events and just want to share the love and passion of all things Star Wars.
And I think that's it's one of those franchises that's going to transcend generations, isn't it, Star Wars? I mean,
definitely.
It's very sort of, draconian and things like that. It's future thinking and,
Yes.
Doing all sorts of different things. And I often wonder sometimes, the sci-fi of it all, someone's thought of that idea and it hasn't become reality yet. But it's amazing how much we sort of use the movies as escapists and say, we could do that one day, right?
Oh, definitely. You look at what's on screen, it's, I could do this, I could do that. And, still people are trying to work out how to make a lightsaber. No success on that. But Star Wars is more science fantasy. It's like what we'd love to be able to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of CGI, but where other franchises is more science fiction, where it's more practical effects and like actual things. So
yeah. And what are you finding with the people that become Star Walking members? What are they sort of attracted to? The particular movies they particularly like about that franchise, or just generally the premise of the story itself?
Well, members that join Star Walking are from all walks of life, and we encourage people whether they enjoy the movies, the comics, the games, or a bit of anything really. Star Wars is across all platforms, and some people like one thing more than the other.
Yep.
And the fact that there's so much content out there, it brings a wider audience there too. So
so many people get into it. Even got Darth Craig here as cosplay.
Yes.
And it's. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, but it's interesting.
Yeah. I think as well, there's so many different fan clubs that pay homage to Star Wars. And it's just like you could almost specialise a fan club for each character almost, couldn't you?
You could almost, yeah. With the amount of content specifically around, well, especially some of the main characters, your Darth Vader, your Luke Skywalker, your Boba Fett, those characters, you could just have a specific fan club, which there are fan clubs dedicated just those characters.
I've got to ask, how many fan bases of Jar Jar Binks?
I'm sure there are some.
So tell us, what about Star Walking? What do they do? Do we have regular meetings? Do we have catch-ups? Do we have, readings of particular scenes, or what do we do?
So Star Walking hosts quarterly club meetings, club catch-ups. Generally we have like a screening or an interview with a guest or a star. The last one we had was with the legendary Don Bees. Some people may know who he is, but he's the guy who built and controls R2-D2 throughout all the prequels.
Yep.
He's a puppeteer and does a lot of the behind-the-scenes work. He also stood in as Boba Fett on screen in the special editions as well. So he's on screen time, but he also did work behind the scenes. We had him here in Melbourne only about a month ago. So we have once a quarter down in Melbourne, but we also do events up in New South Wales as well, and wherever we can really. But
Right.
So I have to ask the lightsaber people before. Favourite episode?
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi? And why is that? Why is Return of the Jedi the favourite?
Probably one of the first ones I saw on the big screen.
Yep.
I fell in love with it as a kid, and who doesn't love that massive fight at the end, 45 minutes of action, and as a kid watching that's awesome. You fall in love with it. But I grew up with the prequels, and I have a soft spot for them because that's the new Star Wars I grew up with.
Yeah.
And like you said before, Star Wars is generational. I wasn't born when the original Star Wars came out.
Me neither.
And, like my parents went and saw it, and I grew up with the prequels, and then my next generation is watching the new series that's out there. So
I think I was 7, 8, or when the first one, when the episode 1 came out, and that was over 20 years and 30 years at that point. For the last one,
about 20 years. Yeah.
There's always a debate about how you should watch the Star Wars movies as well, whether in the story mode or in the release mode or something like that. I remember someone saying the next Star Wars movie is going to be directed by Steven Spielberg in 1976.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like, this is a little bit playing with my brain.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Star Wars coming from all walks of life.
Yes.
So what attracts them to Star Wars? It's the fans for the fans, really, isn't it?
Essentially, yes. We try to put events on and build a safe space for fans to come together and with like-minded people.
Yep.
I want to go talk about this sort of the new thing that's come out, and my friends outside of the club aren't really interested. So I'll go to this event and we'll have a chat and have a bit of a gas bag and enjoy that community as a group.
Yep.
So with the content that's coming out, sometimes it's more positive, sometimes it's negative, but it's a space for them to come together and discuss it and talk about it and be themselves.
Yeah.
We encourage cosplay. We encourage people to dress up, and with like other clubs and associations where some things have to be screen accurate, we don't care.
Yeah.
We love the fact that people are putting the time and effort and passion into whatever they love.
Yep.
Because you get those fan bases like, I'll watch one of the Star Wars, like I'll watch the movies, but then I might not get into some of it. There'll be characters that'll come up while that guy goes, don't you know that's so and so, and that's like,
correct.
I don't know. I'll just watch the movie.
Not everyone's expected to know everything. There's 11 feature films and several thousands of hours of TV content plus games and all these other platforms. There's over 400 novels and things like that. So there's plenty of things that people do like and are really into, and then other people have no idea about.
So is it more about sharing information, maybe sharing knowledge about what they're passionate about, like the books? Someone might not read the books, for example, and they might have a particular part in the book that they can actually relay to people about the story.
That's exactly what it's all about. Getting them together, getting people together. We have a strong group down in Melbourne that really love Rebels and the Clone Wars, the animated shows, and they love catching up and getting together at our events. They just chat about random stuff.
They want to share it with someone else.
Yeah, they want to share the information and share the excitement about it all. Yeah, exactly. Right.
And
no one's going to judge them because they're just as bad as each other.
It is definitely a non-judgment zone, and we love it. Like we're all fans of itself, and the group that was sort of organised down in Melbourne, and the same with the team up in Sydney at the moment. It's like we're all fans. We love it. We wouldn't be doing this unless we enjoyed it. So.
Yeah. And you mentioned, how many members have we got at the Star Walking at the moment?
Financial members, we've got over about 400.
That's great.
Australia-wide.
Yep.
So, sort of expand as much as we can.
Yeah.
Since we originated down in Melbourne, a good chunk of them are down here, but there is a big following up in New South Wales at the moment, which is good.
And you mentioned as well, you did a movie night recently as well, you said before.
Really, any major film that comes out that for Star Wars, we'll try and do like a midnight screening alongside the cinemas. Yep. And, the Rise of Skywalker was a great success for us. We had over 700 people down in the one in Melbourne and then a couple hundred people at the one up in New South Wales. Yep. And, it's great getting all the people with cosplay out, getting everyone to, dragging their kids out at midnight to watch a film. Why not? It's so fun because you're doing it with fans. All the fans are there. It's not people criticising the film.
You're left out because they're all in the same boat.
That's exactly,
Yeah, and so, I guess with those things as well, it's, like I say, bringing people together and just parking the brain for a few hours, forgetting all the life troubles and just watching something you really enjoy.
Oh, that's all it is about. And essentially, Star Wars is that. It's a place to escape, whether it's just watching it or reading it or just taking a deep dive into that fantasy world.
And you were imagining before we came on that you're lengthening the bow even more now, talking about Lucasfilm films.
Oh, yes.
So tell us about the Raiders of the Lost Ark and things like that.
Yeah, well, Lucasfilm is not just Star Wars. So the other big part of it is Indiana Jones, of course. The club did celebrate the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back and Raiders in the same time. They were the same year.
Yep.
So why not celebrate both? It was a massive milestone. But that got delayed because of COVID, and we still did it. We still did it a year later.
Many people that like Raiders.
Oh yeah. Many of the fans like both. If you like Star Wars, you probably like Indiana Jones as well, but maybe because of certain persons in both. But we will be doing things for like the next milestone. The 50th anniversary of Star Wars comes up in a few years' time, so it's a massive 2027.
Not far away.
It's not too far away
at all when you think about it.
50 years.
Wow. And so how do people get involved in Star Walking?
Well, you either can come see us at these many events that we frequently just pop up at, including here at the Mill Park Libary. Starwalking.net is our website. You can find us on socials as well, Starwalking, just one word. You can find us through Facebook, Instagram, and you can join up through there. We have a $10 yearly annual membership. Goes from May 4th to May 4th.
Oh, wow. I wonder why that is.
I know. On a certain day.
Marketing brilliance there.
But, we you get a digital newsletter as well, part of that, which talks about a lot of more in-depth things, goes like deep dives into certain areas. We tribute certain actors. It's a lot of the extra stuff that you don't normally see on the socials. So
sounds like it's good research.
I'm going to ask, the big one will be probably a fear to get would be Harrison Ford, wouldn't it? Because he doesn't really like doing a lot of Star Wars questions.
No, he's he doesn't really do a lot of interviews, let alone Star Wars. But since the mouse is paying him with his new Marvel contract, he's been a very, very, very active person. So who knows? He might be more open to it.
Luke, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate that. And he said starwalking.net.
Yes.
And they can find all the information about the club and join up and be part of the community.
Be part of the group.
I just asked, is Luke accidental or is that...
No, Luke is my real name. Well, other thing that a lot of people find hilarious is that my middle name is Skywalker. Yes, that was changed, but everyone knew me as Mr. Skywalker, so I made it official. So
good on you. Well done. All right, well, we're going to take a break then. Thank you, Luke, for coming on. Really appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of the Libcon.
Yes.
And we'll be in touch soon.
Yes. And we're here at Mill Park Libary for LibraryCon, and we're here with Minnie.
Hello.
How you going? So,
welcome.
Yes. Dip my mouth. What? Sorry, people are distracting me, and I don't do many interviews. So you're doing cosplay competition, so please.
Yeah, so we are the Melbourne cosplay community. We run a makerspace just in the library makerspace on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. And yeah, we're all cosplayers and competitive cosplayers. So we got in contact with Jack about coming down to do the cosplay competition here at the library today.
Cool. So, what's the best costume you've seen so far?
Oh, we've seen some great ones. We've got a really good dragon walking around from the Winged Fire book series. We've seen Jackie Laura from Monster High, a couple of Zelda cosplayers, which are pretty good, and of course the 501st are here in their Star Wars costumes, which are impeccable.
So, if you're going to judge, we got Darth Kroger here. So, what would you rate him out of?
Well, a lot of it is about characterization. So we'd have to see how drawn to the dark side he is, and if he's.
He's very dark. He's very dark.
I don't know, but I'll be more the dark one than he one because. So I made a character based off. So what's his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of it, so you know all these bad people like the dictators and all this stuff that they do bad things.
Yep.
Well, it's actually him causing it.
Oh, I see.
So
bad influence.
He's the reason why they're doing it. So when you I don't know, if you accidentally eat that thing you're not supposed to eat.
He did it.
He did it.
That being said, the Influence would be a great name for a supervillain.
Yeah.
So his name. So that was just a random thing I thought up. So I don't know.
I was just going to ask you, I was really impressed with the book that you had with the design of that outfit, that lovely dress,
yes.
which was from...
so Emmy has made a infected mushroom Princess Peach from the Super Mario Brothers.
And I love the way that you represented it in a book from
for,
start to finish,
for a lot
like
of
a designer does.
Big level competitions, you're required to have a build book so that you can hand to the judges so they can see what decisions you've made and why.
And how you made it.
Yeah, exactly. Em brought that in with her Princess Peach costume, which is actually the second one she's made because the first one had soup spilled on it.
Yeah, lovely. Very nice.
So does this also do a lot of with that LARPing? Is it LARPing? Or?
We kind of run parallel to the LARPing community. A lot of people who do LARP do cosplay as well and vice versa. LARPing is more about like the experience and things, really getting into the actual environment.
But
which is cool.
so they do. So it's like say reenactments, like war reenactments, but you also do like a game sort of. For
cosplay, we find that it's more about representing the character and things like that. Some competitions have skits where you can do little performances and things like that. But yeah, not as much as like the role play aspect for us. It's more about the costume.
Okay. So, I don't know unless I got it on that. So.
Well, I know you've got a lot of great stuff on your stalls. If anyone's around in Mill Park area, please come in and check out the cosplay. And what's the stand of yours?
Absolutely. So ours at the moment is just the Mill Park Library Cosplay Club, really.
Yeah,
we haven't really got a name or anything.
But you've got some lovely outfit on display for people to view.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different things. We've got some award-winning cosplays over there.
And also, just explain a little bit about when you were talking to me about before, the Mill Park Library provide the classes here for sewing classes, and they provide the sewing machine and all the accessories so you can do all that. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Thomastown Library has the textiles makerspace, so they do have sewing machines and things like that for you to go in and do some like basic learning and stuff.
Great idea.
Yeah, it's a really great idea. I know that a lot of them as well have like 3D printers that you can go in and use and stuff.
Yeah, of course, because now there's a lot of more updated stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. And we've just started off here, so we're hoping that we can bring in like our crickets and embroidery machines and hopefully in the future.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't, like I was saying before, they don't know. They just think it's a library, but they don't realise that a library provides a lot of activities, a lot of help, for people that don't have, say, a sewing machine and want to get together and sew and do whatnot. And also a good way to make friends.
Yes, of course. I know that I think Tuesday midday or something here they have a sewing club as well.
Contact your local libraries and check it out, or even on the website.
Yes, you will find it all on the website.
If they want to get in contact with you, where can they catch you?
Yeah, so I am on all the social medias as Moogle Mini. So you can shoot me a message if you need to have any questions related to cosplay or you just want to figure out what it is.
And check out all the photos. You've probably got great photos on there also.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, it's one of our favourite parts of the hobby.
Oh, great.
All right, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the info.
Of course.
Thank you.
Back to the Mill Park Library. And... welcome back to the Mill Park Library. We're here until 4 p.m, as is the Libcon here at the Mill Park Library. 394 in Plenty Road in Mill Park. Lots of things to do. There's face painting. There's all sorts of things going on. There's lightsaber fights and things like that. There's lots of speakers as well talking about all things novels and things like that. So we've got a video game area around the corner as well.
And lots of outfits.
Lots of outfits. There's a cosplay competition at 3 o'clock, so if you want to come down and have a bit of fun with that as well, that's at 3 o'clock. So
Star Wars is well represented.
Star Wars is well represented.
and we've got some Trekkies as well.
That's right. And we've got a gentleman here from the Doctor Who Club of Victoria.
Yeah, hi.
Sorry, your name?
David.
David. Welcome, David. And... Doctor Who. Well, it's almost up there with Star Wars is probably up there as well. Iconic sci-fi characters,
absolutely,
and sci-fi franchises. Yeah. It's one of those where you know through generations. Doctor Who, like when it's amazing, isn't it?
There's a few sci-fi. Few sci-fis that shows and movies and fandoms that have sort of stood the test of time, and Doctor Who's definitely one of those.
Yeah, probably more so than any others. It's been around, like it preceded Star Trek and all of those iconic shows, there was Doctor Who and the Daleks, and you know.
I mean, Doctor Who's nothing without the Daleks. The Daleks happened very early on in its run, and if it hadn't had that iconic bad guy, then we wouldn't be talking about it 60 years later.
No, that's right. 60 years. That's wow. Okay. Yeah.
60 years last year. Is that
last year,
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
And you've got a stall here today, and we've got the TARDIS console that's in action. Tell us a bit about what's going on there.
So the TARDIS console, it's really for the kids to play with. It's a massive fidget toy, not only for the little kids but for the big kids. It's just something I built years ago, and they can turn knobs and pull buttons, and there's some videos that play in it. It's got flashing lights, which is very important with all these things. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so you built that?
I built that,
How long did it take you?
It's had a few rebuilds, probably only 6 months the first time.
Right.
It was built for a meeting because back in those days our room we met was pretty plain. We weren't allowed to put up a lot of posters, that sort of stuff, so it just needed something to feel more Doctor Who. So it was built to put a projector inside it and just sit in the middle of the room and project onto the screen. So,
Clever.
And so tell us about the attraction for the club, the Doctor Who fans. Like, you go to these events and things like that, but Doctor Who is one of those things that's synonymous. People come to the club, do they have a particular favourite Doctor or things like that they talk about?
Everyone has a favourite Doctor. And sometimes it's the Doctor you grew up with, but sometimes it's another Doctor that you just bond with. And people also have their favourite bad guys and that sort of stuff. The great thing about a club, and I'm not just talking Doctor Who here, I'm talking any fandom. So whether that's football, whether that's Star Trek, Doctor Who, the great thing about being a club is you're being with people who like the same things that you do. Okay? And that's really important. It makes you feel like you belong. Okay? So the fact that you can get Doctor Who fans to sit in a room and discuss, like our last meeting was David Tennant. We're discussing the David Tennant era, and they got to talk about their favourite bits, the bit they didn't like. It was a really lively discussion, and everyone really loved it.
And do you find as well that people gravitate towards the TV series or the book series or the comic series? Is there particular parts that they gravitate towards in terms of talking about, in terms of their affiliation?
Doctor Who, the TV show is probably the most common. But there's definitely audio fans, so audio dramas, and book fans as well.
Have there ever been any Doctor Who movies?
In the 60s there was 2.
Okay.
There was supposed to be a third, but it never happened.
Okay. It's interesting.
I still reckon my favourite Doctor Who is Tom Baker. With the big scar.
Okay.
Scar. I think he turned 90 recently.
He did. And he's finally starting to age. You actually look at him now, he does look like someone who's 90, but you look at him about 10 years ago, he didn't look anywhere near that age. So,
I remember seeing some videos of him. He came out to Australia, I think, early on in the piece, and he was doing telecom ads back in the day. And that was his popularity, because, the ABC probably didn't have too many ads at those days, so a little bit of a way to supplement income and do something with telecom.
He came out 45 years ago.
Amazing, isn't it?
And it was after he came out that the club officially became a club.
Right.
Before that, it was a group of friends who used to get together and watch Doctor Who on the ABC. And then after that, they realised there was such a big fan base, because Westfield Doncaster, they were overrun with fans. Like there was hundreds of people there to see Tom Baker, and they didn't see it coming. It was just a storm, and it was like a pop star, and they just didn't see it coming. And the people who made that club, or that started the club, as I said, they're already meeting. They've gone, there's a lot of fans out there, and so they formally made the club then.
And is the club incorporated?
Yes.
And that's the amazing thing, is that you've got a group of friends that we're friends because we like the same thing, and then you've got that wider community base that thinks, oh wow, this is amazing, like getting involved with it. And you've been different things. You went to the show for a little while as well, the Melbourne show, getting out there and talking to different people. And I guess one of the favourite things about these sort of stories is that people can sort of relate to those little chapters in the book. They might have a particular chapter they like or things like that, and they'll just gravitate towards that and be the expert in that particular episode or whatever. And it's amazing how much you learn from other people, what they learn about Doctor Who as well.
There's lots of life lessons in Doctor Who. I can pick quotes from left, right and centre that are very profound. Doctor Who can be very deep, but it can also be very whimsical and fun, and I think it's that balance. I mean, there are episodes in Doctor Who that are clearly just horror stories.
Yeah.
But you've also got ones that are just plain silly. And somehow the nature of the TARDIS and being able to travel and go anywhere you want and have to rewrite history easily allows it to blend to be so many things for so many people.
Common themes as well. When you go, the villains are usually fairly common as well.
Yep.
Like they've got the master and things like that. So there's lots of talk around, who the next master might be and things like that.
And there will be. And look, they've never said that they won't bring back the last Actor 2. So anything's on the cards. And you know that there's only a couple of things they're never going to kill off the master, no matter how much it appears that they've killed him off this time. He's coming back. And some of the other villains are like that. Like they destroyed the Daleks and the planet of the Daleks, and the Daleks came back.
They rebuilt them.
And Dave, what was your attraction to the club itself? Like you obviously were a big fan of the show.
What's my attraction? That's a really good question. Look, my kids at that stage were going through, we're loving Doctor Who, which I'd always loved.
Yeah.
And I joined the club because they had a few events on. And then I'm the type of person who just gets involved. So once I started coming along, I thought I can help out here and I can help out there. And probably, I don't know how long ago it was, over 10 years ago, and now I'm the president of the club. So, that's sort of how these things go. But it brings a lot of joy to a lot of people, and that's what I love. That's why I love bringing the TARDIS, the console, when I bring the police box. The joy that it gives people when they see it, because it's something they relate to and it's something that means something deep down.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me going.
I remember the big story at the time when the phone boxes were a particular colour, and I think British Telecom didn't like them in that colour, or the police didn't like the call box number or something like that. So it's like so much controversy, but they've got past all that, right?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And how many members in the club at the moment, David?
Look, I'm rounding it, but I think it's around 200.
That's fantastic.
So that's pretty good in today's age.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah.
Especially when you come to things like this. I mean, we're in a library, right? So a lot of people are reading books and things, but a lot of people take their inspiration now from videos and audio and all that sort of stuff. So that transition from books to audio and trying to sort of maintain that connection with Doctor Who is quite fascinating, isn't it?
It is quite fascinating, and they've started to interact a bit more and cross-pollinate each other.
Yeah.
So during COVID, there was a whole thing that BBC did where they had comics, they had storybooks, they had some videos, cartoons online, and video games, and all of them blended together to make one big story.
Yeah.
And you could watch part of it and it'd still make sense, or you could watch the whole thing and see the whole breadth of the thing. So it's really good how over time these things have developed together rather than separately.
It's a bit like, I find the franchise a bit like James Bond. Like everyone's always saying, what's your favourite James Bond, what's your favourite Doctor Who? Yeah. They're the key questions, but as we're evolving, it feels like the storylines are getting sharper and sharper because they've got to be a bit careful about what they present in terms of storylines, aren't they?
Yeah, look, Doctor Who's, if you look back even in Tom Baker's era, there are stories there that have hidden meanings.
Yeah.
They're probably a little bit sharper and a little bit more on point now, and there's definitely stuff that in the 70s that you did that you can't do now. But I don't, it's always been trying to push the envelope and raise points and have them done. I've probably just done more subtly back in the sort of 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
There are a lot, you look for them, you can see them, but they weren't pushed as much. Yeah.
To what extent do you think that Doctor Who might have been an influence on shows like Star Trek with their, like they had Uhura, that character, I mean, she was African-American and she was in a position of authority, which was groundbreaking stuff back in the 60s,
I don't think they influenced each other directly, because back in those days, what was happening in England and what happened in the US, they didn't really pay any attention to each other. But it's interesting that both the shows have these morals that they try to push, and push in very different ways, but they're both about have an underlining thing of encouraging people and supporting people.
And how strong an influence do you think that might have been on people who watch Doctor Who?
I think if you become a fan of Doctor Who, it does shape you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like anything. I mean, if you connect with something, then it changes you a little bit.
So it's a fairly strong influence on everyday life and the way people perceive the world and so forth. Yeah.
There's a lot to learn from Doctor Who and how you interact with people. But you've got to remember that the Doctor generally defeats them without weapons. Okay, he finds a way. There's always an answer. Okay, there's sort of an underlying sort of thing in there, and that's a good lesson, especially for younger people, because there is a way through most of the trouble we've got. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to look for it, and sometimes it's not easy, but you've still got to. There's normally a way through it, and you don't need to resort to violence, and that's something that's definitely very strong in Doctor Who.
So do you think that would encourage people to be more innovative?
Oh yeah,
with their problem solving or whatever. Yeah. Because I'm more of a Trekkie than and I can see parallels.
There are parallels, and there's very different ways that they go about it.
Yeah, they've got different methodology, but at the end of the day, I think they come to the same point to some extent.
Yeah. There's been an interesting thing, they call it Friendship is Universal, that's been happening recently, where Trek and Doctor Who has been promoting each other.
Right, yeah.
And I don't know if they'll blend that out into other fandoms as well, but that's been quite interesting in the last few months.
When I look at Doctor Who and Star Trek and compare them to Star Wars, I don't see a parallel there. I mean, Star Wars doesn't seem to be as socially influential as Star Trek or Doctor Who, if you know what I mean.
It's a very different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Their world is very different. It's a much more richer tapestry. You've got more planets, more cultures, more of that sort of stuff.
And more wars.
Definitely more wars. More evil villains, that sort of stuff. But Star Trek and Doctor Who you've got to focus on their characters, not a much bigger thing. So I think that's probably the biggest difference in it. I'm sure that if we got someone from Star Wars up here, they'd argue that it does have morals and all that sort of stuff in it. I'm sure it does, but there's a lot of fun in it as well.
I like Star Wars, it's purely for entertainment, but I don't find it as influential as Star Trek.
I reckon Doctor Who's the one. Like, as I say, the morals,
I think you're right.
Fantastic. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I just sort of, fell in love with Star Trek right from the, word go, and from the first episode, I thought, this is, and I haven't looked back.
Who's your favourite captain?
Oh, Kirk.
Kirk, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Although Picard, I think, did a really good job, and so did...
he's watching you over there. He's got his book over
there. I can see it looking at me.
Patrick Stewart's book.
So I've got to mention him. But Janeway as well. I thought she on Voyager. I thought that was a brilliant series, and it went places that, no other Star Trek went.
Oh, yeah. And great premise for a show. And it really got back to the core root of what it was originally like. And that's the great thing. When you're talking about shows that have been around for 60 years, or almost 60 years, you've got to find ways of reinventing it. And telling new story, old themes in new ways. And that's where the new series did really well with things like the Cybermen. They retold the Cybermen in a parallel universe because it was the easiest way to retell that story. And people understood now what the same thing that they were scared of in the 60s. And that's pretty amazing.
100%.
You're right.
Now, David, we're going to ask you now, who's your favourite Doctor?
Look,
I was going to...
I've got two. So, growing up, it was Sylvester McCoy. So, he was from the classic era. It's mainly because I went through a difficult period and I really related to his darker character.
You're right.
And he's coming to Melbourne on the 10th of November too.
Oh, right.
So I'm really looking forward to that. So he was my Doctor growing up, but probably from the new series, it's David Tennant.
100%.
It's hard not to like someone who's just so excited to be there. So. And in a lot of the episodes, he's really excited to be there.
He's really good into the character, isn't he?
I actually like the female Doctor.
Yeah?
Yeah. I thought she was good.
Yeah. Jodie's lovely. She was out a couple of months last year.
Oh, right.
She's the loveliest person.
I saw some articles on her.
I thought that was interesting, bringing a female into the role of the Doctor, sort of left of centre.
Making ceilings.
But I thought it was a good move.
Yeah, no, it was a good move.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen an extra season or two out of her too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think they'd quite gone where they could have gone on that one, but
yeah, right. Yeah, but I thought she did a good job. I mean, a lot of people sort of were a bit reticent of having a female doctor, because it sort of clashed with tradition.
That's right.
But I think the proof was in the pudding, and she came up to the task very well.
I think it's going to be one of those doctors that people look back on in years to come, and get a deeper appreciation of. And there's certain doctors over the years that people look back on years later and go, I really like that, but I didn't like it as much back then, but now it's really appealing to me. Some of her stories, they were very different, and I think that shocked a lot of people. But I think over time, when people look back, they'll go, they actually were better than I remembered. 100%.
And David, how can people get involved with the Doctor Who Club of Victoria? Is there a way to join and things like that?
So you can join, we've got a website, dwcv.org.au, okay, and you can join straight online from there.
Perfect.
If you go onto the website, you can send us an email, okay, we can send you more information about it.
Fabulous.
We do have a Christmas party coming up on the 23rd of November in Docklands.
Oh, right.
And if you're a Doctor Who fan, that's going to be a heap of fun.
She came up to the task very well.
I think it's going to be one of those doctors that people look back on in years to come, and get a deeper appreciation of. And there's certain doctors over the years that people look back on years later and go, I really like that, but I didn't like it as much back then, but now it's really appealing to me. Some of her stories, they were very different, and I think that shocked a lot of people. But I think over time, when people look back, they'll go, they actually were better than I remembered. 100%.
And David, how can people get involved with the Doctor Who Club of Victoria? Is there a way to join and things like that?
So you can join, we've got a website, dwcv.org.au, okay, and you can join straight online from there.
Perfect.
If you go onto the website, you can send us an email, okay, we can send you more information about it.
Fabulous.
We do have a Christmas party coming up on the 23rd of November in Docklands.
Oh, right.
And if you're a Doctor Who fan, that's going to be a heap of fun. So,
that should be awesome.
Jump on it and we'll fill you in on more information. So
fantastic. Thanks, David. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of Libcon.
I will.
And we'll catch you again soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
David, that's what we're up to here at the Libcon Festival, which is at 394 Plenty Road in Mill Park. We'll head back to you.
Fond memories of Doctor Who there. I remember the very first episode in 1963, and Saturday afternoons were never the same after that. I think it was the day after the assassination of President Kennedy. And then I also did manage to meet Tom Baker when he was on location at a hospital that I was working in.
Welcome back to the Mill Park Library. We're here for Libcon 2024. And you can come and visit us here at 394 Plenty Road in Mill Park. We'd love to have you come along. Lots of things happening around here right through until 4 o'clock. We've got some lightsaber training. We've got stall holders. We've got cosplay. We've got video games. We've got a whole heap of things. And right now we're talking...
a coffee shop.
And a coffee shop, yes, indeed.
Which is something I never ever saw in a library before.
Libraries have evolved over the years, I think. Used to be nice quiet places where you just sit down and read a book and be quiet, and it's anything but that today. Anyway.
It's far from it, yes.
Anyway, we're here with Peter Alden, who's joined us. Hello, Peter, how are you?
I'm very well, gents. Thanks very much for having me.
Pleasure. Now, you've got a different take. We've talked about characters and things like that, and you're basically at the forefront of that by building some novels around sci-fi. So tell us a bit about the inspirations behind all that.
Shall do. So there's a couple of science fiction universes that I write in. So one is my own creation that's been running for a few years, and then a friend of mine who's another writer, another author over in France, and I wrote the first 3 in a series which we've sold to an American publisher. So it was interesting kind of writing with somebody else.
Yep.
And making up a story that's set 5,500 years in the future.
Wow.
That was good fun too.
Very hard to fact check that stuff, right? So it gives me a bit of creative license, right?
100%.
Tell us a bit about constructing a novel of this type. Like, I mean, where do you get the story? I mean, obviously, 5,000 years ahead of time. So what sort of inspiration to sort of develop those stories and make them sort of palatable to the audience?
I think that's a great question. One of the things that I think adds a lot of colour to this particular series is the fact that we've got 2 authors bringing different inspirations.
Yep.
So Andre, or AJ Gordon, is much more inspired by kind of small team dynamics. Whereas I'm, and then the interplay of characters and who's their enemies and how they group together and how do they, the conflict between them. I love that stuff. I'm also interested in the bigger political and historical landscape that things are happening in. So we came to this with two completely different sets of characters and spent about 18 months building, background for the universe before we even started to put pen to paper. So a lot of my ideas were drawn from kind of Roman Empire and projecting those into the future, where you've got a Martianist empire who've pinched a lot of their own ideas from the Romans, the classic Romans, and he has characters who live on the outer edge of that, and aren't as invested in that culture as some of my characters are.
It'd be an interesting thing to actually storyboard a whole story, but now you've got someone thousands of miles away. Like, how do you come across storyboarding that and coming to a landing on what's going to work? It's,
part of inherent in that question is a question about how we work together.
Yeah.
And we are very different writers. I'm what's called a plotter, so I'll not have the entire thing mapped out, but have a very set structure that I'm working towards. Okay. He's what's called a pantser, so flying by the seat of his pants.
Okay.
Writes a page, let's discover what's on the next page as he writes. And we both work really well individually like that. Bringing those styles together was about 18 months of pain. And we got there largely on the basis of going, you know what, we're mates. And our friendship's more important than this.
Yeah.
But we've also got this universe, this story that we think's worth fighting this through and working this out. So there's a lot of compromise there and a lot of having to give each other moments where, Andre's style, no, we're going with what you want here. No, we're going with what Pete wants in this bit. And we eventually got there. When we went to a publisher with it and they said, we really want this, but we're not even going to look at the first book till you write two more. We went,
really?
Swear word. Do we really want to go through that again? So what we decided, we actually said, right, you're writing one of the sequels, I'm writing the other one.
Yep.
And it worked perfectly.
Okay.
So we just bounced off each other and referenced each other's work a bit and made sure things lined up with what was happening in the other book.
So where did your passion for story writing come from and storytelling?
I think it came from being a kid and having a dad who read almost nightly to us. And just being a massive nerd since I was a kid. Just loved Doctor Who and loved the Wombles and loved anything like that would feed into that. But reading was a big thing. Yeah, Star Trek, Stargate, Star Wars. I'm more Stargate than anything else.
Yeah,
I probably alienated a third of my audience.
Okay. It's interesting.
I do like Star Trek.
Stargate's good, but it's not one you hear a lot about in terms of, which one do you like,
It's not one of the bigger franchises, Yeah. I think I'd probably prefer Star Trek over Star Wars.
Yeah, okay.
Because of some of that political things that they get into and some of the reinventions that they've had that have worked really well.
I think Star Trek was a very innovative story writing, and social commentary and
way ahead of its time in terms of egalitarian values and racial values and for sure.
Gender-based stuff as well. Like I was saying before, with the character Uhura. Who was an African-American female in a very prominent, commanding position on board the vessel.
The vessel.
Referring to
season
the Russian crew member.
So Peter, what makes a good book?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it's got to be satisfying. So part of it, I think it's a balance between fulfilling expectations and surprising that reader. And that's that's where a book and a film, a TV series works or it doesn't work, I think, ultimately. And that's some of that's a science, which is where some of that plotting comes in and some of that's just magic or art or intuition. So, you've got to, if you know the genre that you're writing in, you know what those readers love and expect, give them enough to keep them satisfied, but then give them some kind of twist or surprise that keeps it fresh.
And I guess that's a challenge in one of these books is that, you've got to try and develop characters that either are going to be loved or hated depending on how people perceive them as readers.
You've have your books been published long enough at this point to be able to gauge a level of success?
Depends what you mean by success, doesn't it? So, one writer won't... No, that's a great question. One writer won't be satisfied until they've hit a New York Times bestseller list. I haven't hit that yet. I've been satisfied. The sales have been good enough for me. The reviews are the thing that I love seeing, that I'm getting good ratings and feedback from complete strangers who get it. Or saw an aspect of my story that I never even knew was in there. And just some of the comments you get from people who come up to you at a convention like this one. You've never met them in your life, and they go, "Oh, I bought that book 2 years ago, and I loved it, and this is what it did for me." It doesn't happen every day, but that's success to me. Like, I love that.
Here's a question. Are those books available on Kindle?
Yes, they are. 100%.
Harry's going to download it right away.
In fact, let me give you a card with a QR code.
Excellent. Excellent.
See,
Thank you.
We're building the love as we go. So, Peter, you were doing a couple of talks today at Libcon. Tell us a bit about what your premise of this talk was today.
I did one talk and it felt like two. It was titled "Finish Your Novel," but you could apply the principles to a short story or a memoir. In fact, one young lady in the audience, that's what she was writing.
Oh, right.
So it was all about kind of breaking through some of the things that stop people finishing a project. And that could be applied to a painting or a novel or whatever.
Anything.
So that's where we went, and it was always interesting to talk to people afterwards and hear the ideas that they've got permeating and they've been working on for years. And you think, gee, that's really good. Why don't you finish that? Let's go.
And how do you inspire other people like that? I mean, as I say, they've got all these great ideas, creative mindsets and things. How do you get it from the brain onto the paper? Is that a hard challenge to manufacture?
It's like anything, isn't it? Like, I'm terrible at exercise. I know what I should do. Have I found an aspect of exercise that's fun for me, or have I got enough reason to go and do it? No, I don't, even at 58. There's hard work involved, and I think you've just got to hit that moment where you decide. So when I turned 40, I went, maybe this is the midway point. Am I going to do this or am I not going to do it? And I decided I'm going to do it. So started investing in a writing coach, started investing in courses, invested in going to writing groups where you get feedback, and then made time in my diary to plant my backside in a chair. And even if the words I wrote were bad words, they were done and I could go back and fix them later on. So I think just that planting your backside in a chair and doing some work, but telling yourself that this is worth doing as well is really important.
Because I think a lot of people sort of don't really want to do that sort of changes, like the leap of faith, and they think, what if it fails? But you can't take that mindset in. Can you just get in the paper and get onto it?
It's like anything.
Just go.
100%. And you don't know what you can do until you give it a go. But I always think it's good to finish a project, even if it's a smaller version of it. Because then you can see the whole thing and you know what it is that you're working on, rather than just work. So one of the things we talked about was, rather than going back and polishing the same one chapter that you've written 50 times, write 20 chapters, complete a story, even if it's bad in your mind, and then have a look at it and go, okay, I can see what I can do with this. I've got a real whole thing that I can develop.
Bit of self-assessment?
Yeah, a bit of self-assessment.
And when we're writing a novel, just generally, do you have to have an ending, or does it evolve as you write?
Some of the best stories don't have an ending, I reckon. Look, again, as a plotter...
Define not having an ending. I mean, I'm curious about that.
Maybe open-ended is a better way.
Okay, all right, Okay.
So one of my favourite trilogies ends with the guy staring death in the face, like there's this thing coming to kill him, and it stops. That's the end of the trilogy, and you don't know whether it got him or not, and I love it. There's just something about that, the way the author did that. I think... At some point you have to say, how does this, like, there's a journey you're taking that reader on. Something has to resolve, even if something else is left open, like a Marvel movie where they always have something after the credits. You've got to resolve something for people.
I find that incredibly frustrating, personally, because if I'm interested in a story, I'm looking for some sort of resolution at the end of it. So
you'll get that with my stories.
Yay!
I'm going to buy them.
And how many have you written before this one? Like, have you evolved other ones as well, Peter?
Under my own name, I'm at 15 novels at the moment, and I've probably got another 7 or 8, depending on how you count, under a pseudonym, which I won't talk about.
And are there any that you've actually said, this is the best piece of work, or do you have any favourites at all? Like having kids, you don't have favourites?
It is a bit like that, where you say, I don't have any favourites, we actually do. Even though mainly I write this space opera, I do have a zombie apocalypse trilogy set in Tasmania, and I think the first book in that was actually a book about manhood. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
What a great place to be.
Yeah, that's perfect. If I wanted to write out the end of the world, that's where I'd be. That's for sure.
Well, yeah,
great place to live.
Absolutely.
And a screenwriter and I are talking about adapting one of my other horror novels at the moment. I'd be interested to see how that, because that actually still talks a lot about mental illness, and homelessness, even though it's a horror, a straight horror story. So
well, it resonates with readers too. There's big issues in that space, so people resonate. That's probably one of the things, isn't it? You know, balancing that sci-fi part with reality and sort of combine those themes together.
And sci-fi, horror, fantasy are those genres where you can really explore the human condition, even though you're looking at technology, maybe, or magic, or that sort of thing. There is a real opportunity to explore gender issues, like you were saying, or race issues, or other social issues. AI at the moment, it's a big one. You see,
exactly.
Strangely enough, pops up in a lot of sci-fi as a theme.
Well, no surprise there.
No.
and not always in a good way.
Not always in a good way, although, sometimes it does, and you think, maybe there's some hope for us. But,
well, I mean, that's not a new concept. I mean, there's
Terminator was working on that.
And before then, we had that. I forget the name of the movie, but where the computer took over.
War Games?
War Games is another one. Yeah. But there was
Space Odyssey.
There's one.
Hell.
Yeah, that was
Hell. Locking the bay doors.
That's it. Yeah.
What's that? 1969 or 68? Or
isn't that funny though? That genre's evolved so long over so many years, and still relates to people across generations.
And still, it circles back to the same things.
Yeah.
Some of the things that they predicted were, like Star Trek in particular, were really prescient.
Yeah. I mean, flip phones,
Yeah, flip phones.
Dick Tracy phones on the watch, right?
That's right.
Little badges on our chest soon. But things like translators, because everything's translated in the Star Trek universe. You can do it live on your phone.
Someone's thought of it as a real idea and said, let's put it on TV first.
Gene Roddenberry should have patented all his ideas.
He really did see into the future, didn't he? In an accurate way. Because a lot, you hear people talk about the future and they're way off the mark, But, you look at people like Gene Roddenberry especially, so much of what he put into Star Trek came to fruition,
So, Peter, is it a bit like being a record contract and stuff like that? Are people actually waiting for the next big thing that Peter's going to write? And what is that?
There aren't enough of them. If anyone's listening and they want to get on that bandwagon, go for it.
100%.
I could do us some more. There are. The next big thing, we're sort of toying with some more books in this universe we were talking about, the one set way in the future. I've got an epic fantasy, like a Lord of the Rings kind of book, coming out next year. If that goes really well, I've got other ideas for that universe. So
spin-offs.
Spin-offs. So
series.
we might go with that. There's always something I'm working on. So,
And what do you love the most about writing? To keep you going?
So many things. I think it's just the creative process. If I was a dancer, I'd dance to express myself. If I was a painter, I'd paint. So I think you don't write because you want to be a writer. I think you are a writer, and you've got to do something with the ideas that keep annoying you at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So it's taking an idea and putting it on the page and going back and going and having other people say, "Oh, that works." Like that.
Okay, fantastic. And on average, how long would it take you to write a novel?
One novel took me 26 years. Another novel took me 3 months.
Okay.
And I think they're equally as good as each other.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about my writing.
Peter, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the time.
And really enjoyed your talks and things like that here at Libcon today. And thanks for giving us your time today.
Cheers. All the best.
And enjoy the rest of Libcon.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Libcon 2024, and we are here until around about 4 o'clock, so if you want to come down, there's a cosplay competition very, very soon, so if you're going to come down, make it soon, because otherwise you're going to miss out on the cosplay competition. So come down and have a look. There's lots of people still here. There's lots of face painting and things like that that's still going on. There's lots of video games people can play. There's cosplay inspirations as well, and we've got Jack Chan from the Mill Park Libary here. Hello, Jack.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well, and thanks for joining us. It's been a busy day for you.
Oh, thank you for coming as well. It has been a busy day, but it's a wonderful. Luckily, the weather's cleared up outside as well. But,
good turnout.
These things we love doing because we just love running them. Well, personally, I love running them. And because I love everything that's popular culture, and I think a lot of people around here do as well. As you can see from today.
And you're looking very Star Trekky.
I'm very Star Trekky today. Yes, I was a Ghostbuster last year.
Different.
And I thought I might go back to my normal universe of Star Trek this year. Next year, I don't know.
So in other words, you feel more at home, don't you?
I do feel more at home, even though I feel a bit farther away in that universe. But I've managed to beam down to Earth for today anyway. So.
Now, how many Libcons have we had? I mean, this is the first one we've been actively involved with. But how many have you had?
Good question. This is the third one at Mill Park Libary.
Yep.
And we've had 3 others. This was kind of like pre-COVID. We had 3 others in 2019, which was one was at Thomastown, one was at Watsonia Library, and one was at Diamond Valley Library. So we did 3 in that year, and that year we didn't run it here because we were closed for renovations.
Yeah.
So that
and
was
they've
different.
done a good job, I might add, because I'm a local here, so I saw how the difference is.
Yes, yeah. And luckily the library looks like the Starship Enterprise, so I'm really in my realm here.
Tell us about the plan that goes into this, though, Jack. I mean, it seems like it's a 12-month exercise to try and get everything together.
It is a 12-month. It actually is a 12-month exercise. A lot of times, the way I got the inspiration for this is that I like going to the Comic-Cons in the city and that kind of thing. And back in 2016-17, I said I would love to run one here. My ultimate goal was to have a TARDIS in the library, and then we build around that. So having gone to those conventions, I go, look, I'm sure we can run something like this at the library, even not on the bigger scale. But so back then, I started contacting the fan clubs, that kind of thing, and sharing the idea and go, okay, we can actually do this. Back then, we got funding for it as well, for the first one. Mm-hmm. And so, again, there's a lot of contacts. So it was fan clubs, artists, that kind of thing. And that took quite a while to build up. And then we managed to get enough to run our first Comic-Con back then. And from there, it's just basically...
Well, I remember, I don't know, it was several years ago, I came here with my eldest grandson. Yes. He's 21 now.
Yep.
And they had a Doctor Who event in the back room or back section.
They did.
And they had the big walls with all the screens where you could take a photo in front and look like you're actually in the movie.
We're actually in the...
Do you remember that? Oh, that was fantastic. I was all part of it too.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you remember
good
that?
use of technology, yes.
It was great.
It was
really
a different
good
experience. But there's a lot of planning, and there's a big team behind it as well. We get a lot of help from not just me, but the staff.
I got some great photos out of it.
You get some great photos.
I did.
I guess as well, we were talking earlier, we were joking about it a little bit, but back in the day, libraries were very quiet places where you just read a book and there was no noise at all.
No noise.
This is exactly the opposite of that, right? So this is where libraries have evolved right over the years.
They have evolved.
But there is warning before all of this.
Yeah, we did put up warnings before this. We did put up warnings so that at least we know that people come into our libraries for different reasons to study, but when we run these big things where we just take over the library, which is a good way of doing it, like a total takeover of the library, we do give proper advance notices so that at least they know, okay, the library's going to be like this. If you want to come along, dress up, you can.
Hey.
So it's a very busy day, and we there's still some people studying in the computer rooms.
Room, yeah. But, you need those rooms, don't you?
Yeah, we try to have a quiet area during normal time, but some libraries still have quieter areas for study and everything, and we do have a quiet area.
Well, you need that because, like we said, when we think of a library, you think of quietness.
Yeah, you think of quietness, and
but we're moving.
Yeah, we're moving, and it's
moving
getting
with
noisier.
The trends.
Unfortunately, it's moving with the trends. We still try to have some areas where you just do some quiet reading and that kind of. So that's still there, but
I think they'll forgive you. It's only one day in
one noisy day.
Jack, but I guess as well that these sort of events bring people who maybe don't come to the library as often.
Yes,
and it's a good focal point for people to say, oh, there is a really good facility here that people can use.
That's a very good point, because part of us running this is it's attracting people to the library because we're trying to get away from this thing of, libraries and public libraries are now more than just books. There's a lot of also community aspects to it as well. Yeah. And the beauty about this kind of event is that it brings a lot of people attracting to the library. And we didn't know this thing was happening at the library, but they came along and go, and they discover us. And then later on, at least we know that they know that we're here, and they know that this, what we run, we don't do this every day, luckily. That's right. But at least they discover the library. And plus the other aspect of why we run these sort of things is that it's very expensive for families and to go into the city, go to the big Comic Cons.
Exactly, it is.
And so we try to, we
bring it closer to the suburbs
here and offer the same kind of things.
Yeah,
so
on a smaller scale, but
yeah. And we had a lot of fun in the meantime. There's a lot of staff and volunteers that help us run this as well.
No, it's a really good vibe too, and it's interesting. Yeah.
And and look, we couldn't do without the fan clubs, the cosplay people as well. They're helping us do the competitions, the lightsaber, all these.
I know. I just noticed that with my grandkids who actually have participating in that.
Yeah, and this is the only place where you can get a moulding of different universes, and they live happily next to each other for one day.
That's right.
For one day they do, and then the next day they go back to battling each other.
Well, I actually was speaking to the guy from Star Trek, who will be on shortly.
He will be, yes.
Yes, and he told me that they're all friends with the people from Doctor Who.
They are now.
And when they get together, they pretend they're arguing on the stage.
Well, Doctor Who, they have an advantage, Doctor Who. They can go back in time and, muck around with our universe. So we want to be on friendly terms with them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, true.
And Jack, just very quickly then, I mean, some of the things that the library does offer is youth takeover nights. Tell us a little bit about those. They're not very well publicised.
Not very well published because, the numbers are growing at an astonishing rate. It's a partnership we have with Whittlesea, the youth department there. And we run it once a month on a Friday night. Now, the purpose of that is to youth from, I think the ages from, I can't remember the ages now that we offer it to, up to 25, from 17 to 20, something like that. 16 to 25, I think.
Yep.
And we actually give them access. They have the whole library to themselves. And the whole purpose of that is not only getting individual or getting people who come in who need that kind of socialisation with their peers, same age group. It's for them somewhere to go that they feel safe, and there's facilitators running it, and so basically they feel in a safe space that they can actually make new friends, and they made a lot of friends.
Yeah,
so
good way to make friends.
A good way to make friends, and if they're more, if people are interested, I think we've got something on our website that they contact City of Whittlesea Youth Department. So it's slowly growing, and you don't need a big crowd for it. We've got about, I think, 20 or so people coming along those Friday nights.
Yes.
And it's a great.
Well, I was just talking. Sorry to interrupt you. I was just talking to some of the people from cosplay that made the outfits.
Yes, yeah.
And they were telling us that the libraries provide the sewing classes and the craft classes, and they provide the sewing machine and all that. So a lot of people don't know that.
Yep. Now the sewing machines. Yes. Sewing machines are good because. The sewing machines are actually in the Thomastown Library. They have a sewing. I think it's called textiles and something materials.
Textile class, where they all
make a space, and they have sewing machines and sewing classes there.
And
that
for people that don't have one, which is an expenditure, they can go to the Thomastown one. Yeah,
exactly, and they learn some skills as well because you have staff who can run little sessions for them as well.
Oh, the libraries. I'm familiar with the libraries. They've got so many great activities.
It's just different, and we try to change with community needs and expectations. So these things that pop up, it's like, well, people want to learn how to do things at home. It's not only saving them money, but also getting them new skills.
I think people should come in to have a look, because I come in, I'm a regular, so I know that you've got pamphlets on the desk, pamphlets of all the activities. You've got the computer classes, you've got, if you want to study ancestry, all that sort of stuff, to follow that on, which is very hard. They've got all that info. There's just so much.
Ancestry is, we're lucky to have that program.
Yes.
I mean, you can only come to the library, access, but it's for free.
Yeah.
And the other thing about the tech, the biggest need out here is what we call our tech help sessions, where people can just booking for one-on-one tech help, and they often have problems with their phones, with their devices.
Yes,
and so we give them a one-on-one, and we teach them, and also so they can learn how to solve. They can learn something about their technology.
Yes, because their phones these days are very technical.
Yeah. They are. They're very technical.
All they used to do was answer a phone call one stage.
Which button do you? Which app is this one?
That's true. What do they want now?
You need an app to find the app.
That's 100%. That's true. 100%. They might. I reckon there's one out there.
There's one out there. Oh, there could be a market. Oh, that could be an idea.
There you go.
Make an app to find all apps.
Okay, we've got partners.
Send to the invoice, Jack.
That's right. We'll put some money towards it.
Yeah, that's fine. No, but on all seriousness, there is a lot of activities here.
Yeah, there are all activities, and we're lucky that our organisation supports all that as well, because that's what brings...
And also, I know it's run by the City of Whittlesea.
Yep.
And that people don't know, even the City of Whittlesea, the actual place provide different things.
They provide different things.
So just on the website,
It's on the website. And there's always, it's a constant thing to keep promoting and that kind of thing, but... Yarra Plenty stretches across 3 municipalities, being Banyule and Nillumbik.
And you've also got a nice cafe for people that don't know, which is located at the back of the library. So if you come in and you haven't had a cuppa or something to eat, you can grab a book and sit down, and that'll take care of that.
It would take care of that. It would take care of that. It would. And the cafe is run by our volunteers, and it's a fantastic service as well.
Yes, yes. I've eaten many times there.
The coffee is excellent because I'm a coffee drinker and I love their coffee. So
yes, I know.
Vouch you're a bit of a coffee connoisseur.
We didn't have one today.
It keeps me awake all year, but who needs to sleep these days?
Right.
It's a waste of time sleeping.
No, it is. It's really great.
Jack, thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it, and well done on the success of Libcon today.
Yep, and thanks very much for support.
Thank
your
you.
support as well, and everyone, chime into 88.6 Plenty Valley FM.
Thank you very much.
Well done, Jack.
Thank you, Jack.
Plenty Valley FM. Really
welcome back to Libcon 2024. Harry and Craig here at the moment with Scott as well, and Kat's been helping us out as well across the afternoon, and all the others as well. We'll do a bit of wrap-up in our next cross. Lots of things happening here at Libcon. You're almost out of time, though, because 4 o'clock it's finishing, and lots of people still here. So and the library's open until 5, so you want to come along and have a look at the Comic Con and then maybe grab a book to borrow. You can come down here, and the library's open until 5, and all the normal facilities of the library are still operating. It's just a little bit noisier than normal.
Indeed it is. but in a nice way.
In a nice way. It's letting people know what the library's all about. We had Jack on before, and great opportunity to introduce people to the library.
Good stuff, yeah. It was really interesting.
Now, who do we have here on our other mic?
Oh, it's me now. Okay. I'm just listening to you two great people talk.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Wayne.
Hi, Wayne.
I'm the president of Starfleet, the USS Southern Cross Melbourne chapter.
Yep.
We're a Star Trek-based club where we have a sort of a parent... I suppose a parent organisation based in the US.
Right.
So we have... The parent club has 231 chapters just like ours, scattered all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 5,500 members worldwide.
Amazing.
We boast that we've got member or chapter in nearly every country around the world.
Wow.
Some have only got like maybe 2 members in their chapter, but some have got like 600 or 700 members.
Okay.
Our chapter's pretty good. We've got about 100 members in the cross.
I was just going to ask,
So we've got members scattered from Melbourne all over the world.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. We've got them in the US. We've got them in England, Canada, Guam. We've got them in New Zealand. We've got them everywhere.
Wow. Now, Star Trek is right up Harry's alley, because he's been talking about Star Trek all day.
Yes,
We've finally got a Star Trek interview.
Well, hang on. I can talk about Star Trek all night. I mean...
Well, yeah, here we go.
If the music starts again, it means our studio producers decide that's enough. Okay. But you go on.
Well, I'd really like to explore the concept of Southern Cross.
Yep.
A star vessel, or a starship, I guess, called the Southern Cross, which is like, a version of the Enterprise, but
it is. We for those Trekkies out there, we're actually an Akira class, so we're more of a warship version.
Yep.
It's a famous ship from anyone who remembers watching the Worf battle where the Borg fought the Federation.
Yes.
You actually see the Akira cast for about 1.5 seconds before it gets blown up.
Yeah.
But it is there.
Yeah.
But our ship was actually picked. We've been around for almost. Next year it'll be about 18 years. We've been floating around.
Okay.
It was started in New Zealand by a great man called Bruce.
Right.
He kind of fell in love with Star Trek, and he was... Because we also have a marine section. I know hardcore Trekkies are going to go... They're going to gulp because we don't have Marines, but actually there are Marines in Starfleet.
There are?
Oh, yeah, there are.
Okay.
They're not talked about a lot, but they actually, in a couple of books, and the comics, you actually hear about them.
Actually, that makes sense, because there's a lot of naval tradition that's inherent in the Enterprise and the crew. It's not surprising to hear that there's actually Marines on board.
That's why we picked the Akira, because it's got a bigger area to put all the equipment.
Are they the guys with the red shirts?
No, nobody talks about the red shirts.
No, don't talk about the red shirts.
Although I love getting in the red shirt. Everybody leaves me alone for the whole day. I know, but they leave me. Well, I'm on crutches, so
okay, all right, yeah.
I mean, that's the funny story was I was at a convention once, and I was wandering around with a red shirt and the trousers and my crutches, and everybody kept taking pictures of me.
Yeah, of course.
So is that something that's true, Wayne? It's very, very territorial and tribal in terms of the fans of the franchise actually going after a particular type of vessel or a type of population.
Yeah, you will find. In our organisation, they've got Intrepid classes, they've got Constitution classes. There's a couple of Defiant classes. There's a lot of Star Trek tend to gravitate towards a particular ship.
I gravitate towards the ones that have got, they can go invisible.
Oh, you like the cloaking ones.
The cloaks.
We do have a couple of Klingon ones, which were actually in the club. So, they're not always there. They're kind of in the background. We don't talk about those guys. No. But you will tend to gravitate towards a particular ship. Mainly, you'll find a lot of them will be like the Enterprise class, like Constitution or A classes, or Enterprise D or C or E. You'll tend to gravitate towards the Enterprise version. It's a recognised ship, and everybody wants to be the Kirk or the Picard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Enterprise is synonymous with Star Trek.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You can't have one without the other.
You can't. You physically can't. You've got to have an Enterprise somewhere, and you will find that in most Star Trek TV series, the Enterprise will be either spotted in the background or talked about.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You just can't have. You have to do it.
It'll come to the rescue.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. But now, listen, I want to explore this, because this has always fascinated me. There was a particular episode of, I think it was with Picard in that era, that series of Star Trek. And there was one episode where they used parts of the original series with Kirk, and all that from the 60s, and they had Klingons on board, and they looked nothing like Worf. In fact, they were humans with goatees. Remember that?
Yeah.
And they had the sash and all that sort of stuff. And at one point, I think it was Commander, Frakes. Riker. Yeah. Riker. Okay. He was talking with Worf, and he said, "What happened? With the Klingons? I mean, back in the 60s, you looked like that, and
They did answer that question in...
And Worf said, we don't talk about it.
Yeah, they did answer that question in the Enterprise series, like the prequel to it.
Okay.
And then they talked about it later on. But the answer was that it was the Klingons created using a hybrid and genetics to create human-looking Klingons to infiltrate. And then because they were Klingon and they used a genetic material from a human, it migrated and deformed, and it became a virus.
Okay.
So there was a whole period where they looked human,
right?
Until the virus died off, and then they went back to looking Klingon.
You know,
that's how they got around it.
That's it. I love about this. All the research and everything else that goes into it to make the story palatable and believable to actually evolve those characters and make them come to life.
Because that was one of the biggest things when Next Generation appeared, or Picard's era appeared.
Next Generation, yeah.
It's funny we're talking about Picard and Patrick Stewart's biography sitting staring at us all day.
That was one of the biggest things that ever came up is, what are they? And they go, oh, they're Klingons. They're not Klingons, they're Klingons. No, they're Klingons. We've got more money now, so we can do
merchandising.
Klingons.
And the technology's come along, so that always fascinated me, but... there was something else I was going to ask you, but I've forgotten now. But anyway...
What about the club itself, Wayne, that you're involved with, the Southern Cross one?
The club's been around for about 18 years.
Yeah.
I became president about 10 years ago. I got shanghaied into it. We won't go into that topic. I forgot to walk back when everyone else walked backwards.
Military volunteering, we know it well.
We do all the conventions throughout Victoria. So we do all the Victorian ones.
Yep.
So all Melbourne-based ones. So there's the three big ones, Supernova, OzCon Christmas, which is coming up, and we do Metro.
Yep.
We do a lot of the community ones like these. We love doing these because they're really... We love helping with the community events like these because they're a lot closer. You can have a lot more enjoyment, and a lot of people want to just talk a lot easier.
Well, Jack was saying before from the library, he created this sort of event because people don't necessarily have to go into the city and pay the cost to get in, and they only want to see a particular part, whereas they can just curate whatever they want to see at the local ones here.
Yeah,
it is. We do also do two regional ones, which is BendiCon in Bendigo, which is really growing, and we do Ballarat, which is again another...
Ballycon. BendiCon, Ballycon, what is it?
Well, it's actually called Ballarat Pop Culture.
But it's very unimaginative.
I know. Some of them are actually pretty imaginative. We've done a couple around, and they've just stuck where they are with con. I mean...
and we're at Libcon. So hey,
Bellicon.
Who knew? Yeah, okay. We were sitting up there at our table working this out, and they actually should have called it Millcon.
Millcon.
So Mill Park instead of Libcon.
Okay, yeah.
We think, but,
That could be in the feedback survey at the end of the event. I'm sure there'll be one of those going around somewhere.
We do a lot of stuff online. We have Facebook. We do Zoom meetings, which is good for the non-Australian members because they can just drop in. Because I try and do it. You can never get our time to fit with their time.
Yeah.
So they're coming in at 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah. Dedication.
We get together once every second month and just go to a pub or something and have a good afternoon.
Yeah.
We might go to bowling or something like that.
Yeah.
We just have a lot of fun.
And what do you find, Wayne, when the groups come together? Like, do they gravitate towards a particular story they want to embrace and talk about that they've read, or something recently, or is it just evolving the whole series?
No, it's just picking on each other. I mean, I didn't say that. It's the good thing about doing the cons is you do them long enough, you get to know everybody.
Yeah.
And like, if somebody needs help, it doesn't matter. We all jump in and help if we can.
Yeah.
And I like that with this because the real world isn't always a nice place.
Yeah.
But you come to these, and everybody tends to want to help everybody.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. All demographics can get into pop culture.
Yeah.
And this is the part I like. You don't, I'm on crutches, I have disabilities, but no one looks at that.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have... It doesn't matter whether you're young, old, male, female. It doesn't matter. Everybody can just jump in and you can have a lot of fun.
Well, the common connection is your interest in Star Trek, right?
Or any of the science fictions that are out there. I mean, we've got a lot of members in our club that are out from the other clubs,
right?
And I'm members in a lot of the other clubs.
Right, okay.
So, you know, if you actually look at it, we're all just one club, but we've all got different names.
Specialists.
You know, I'm in the Doctor Who club today. No, hang on, that's right. But that's half the fun.
Actually, do you find that, like, obviously you go to these sort of things and see the same people potentially at different ones? Like, do you actually talk about, you know, different things that you guys are...
We actually do. We
interested in?
They might come around to have, you know, just say hello, and then the next minute it's been 2 hours and we've talked about everything in the topic. Yeah. You know, the topic comes up about the Doctor Who or something, and we're talking, and we've had people on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
And they're looking at us, and I've looked up and I said, "Yeah, don't worry, we're Doctor Who at the moment, but we can be... That end is Star Trek, but up this end is Doctor Who." It's just, we would pick on a topic, and like a lot of the... we've got a couple of the Doctor Who's, they watch the newest Star Trek.
Yeah.
And they'll say, I didn't like that one because of... Well, I watched the new Doctor Who, and I go, I'm having trouble with that plot. Where's that? And they'll explain it to me, because they've got a bigger understanding of the Doctor Who world. Or sorry, the Doctor Who universe, I should say.
It's a little knowledge base.
Yeah. I can talk the arm and leg off about Star Trek. It's a very bad thing. My wife is an angel when it comes to this, because she doesn't just put up with me, she gets involved.
Okay, right.
I get her into cosplay as well, which, you know, that says a lot.
Yeah.
And she lets me have a library full of, you know, the interior of a Jeffrey's tube, or, you know, you've got a really good friend and person when you've got 3 books of how to understand Jeffrey's tubes.
And someone came out with a plan of
we've got a couple of plans
of the
I've got
Enterprise.
I've got one. I've got the full size blueprint plan, and there's also a virtual tour of the Enterprise D. So you can actually find it online, and you can actually wander through the Enterprise D. And you don't think we've all done that? No.
But the one that really got to me was the Klingon dictionary.
Oh, yeah. No. The better one is the actual Klingon Shakespeare. Hamlet in Klingon.
I've heard everything now. Klingon Shakespeare. All right. I'm going to look that up later.
Yeah, you've got a book of Klingon doing Hamlet in actual Klingon.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And they will tell you that it's the best version of Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah.
Is the Klingon version.
There's supposedly out there a language app, and one of the languages you can learn is Klingon. It's actually in the language app.
Yep.
Wow.
So it is. We've had people that have actually been at the table chatting away, and they're talking in Klingon.
Unbelievable.
And they're articulating. I'm standing there going, he's speaking. I just don't know what he's saying. I think, and I've got the Klingon dictionary at home.
Yeah, right.
It's full on. The good thing about pop culture, and not just Star Trek, but Star Trek mainly, because I think it's that kind of way. The fans have created most of the backstories. Up until about the 80s, there wasn't a lot of backstory. It's the fans that have created all the backstories.
Yeah. Makes it more relatable.
It does, and you can go in as far as you want, or you can go in and go down the rabbit hole and get lost.
Yeah. and that's easy to do.
You have no idea.
I know, I do. I actually do.
Well, Wayne, how do people get involved with your club? What do we have to get on?
Well, basically, if you want to get involved, we've got a Facebook page, open Facebook page. Just look for the USS Southern Cross on Facebook. Leave a message. More than happy to get back to you. We've got can I do an email?
Yeah, of course.
We've got an email address, ncc63550@gmail.com. I'm the lovely person that you'll be contacting, and I will get back to you more than happily with a an enormous amount of information that has been cut down 3 times already.
Excellent stuff. Wayne, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure talking to you guys. I'm not kidding. It was fun.
Pleasure. Thank you.
And the feeling's mutual.
Thank you.
This is good.
I love the local news.
I love the music variety.
And all the local sport.
24 hours a day. It's all local. 88.6 Plenty Valley FM.